Subscribe, please click the like button, share and subscribe, it's free.
However, most of our African leaders are not free. And when we are not free, we cannot determine a destiny for our own people. In Africa today, and more particularly in French-speaking Africa, we have many heads of state who always receive instructions from Paris, London or Washington before making any decision. We have heads of state who prefer to dress in Paris or Washington to fight their own African brothers. In such a context, building an integrated set of development and industrialization is difficult. As for my country, Burkina Faso, we have noticed that in West Africa, cooperation between states is difficult. As other heads of state receive instructions from elsewhere to execute them against other countries in West Africa. This observation has led us, together with Mali and Niger, to leave the sub-regional organization, the Economic Community of States in West Africa. And I can tell you that now something new is happening in Africa. Because the three countries, Mali, Burkina Faso and Nigeria, formed an alliance on September 16th, 2023. And from July 6th, 2024, formed a Confederation of States. And this confederation aims to reach a federation of states in the coming years, and as soon as possible. And I can tell you that this step is irreversible. If the Constitution of the Confederation is made by the instigation and leadership of the three heads of state, the populations of these countries have seized this project and are now pushing the leaders to move forward. So it is no longer a matter of leaders. It has become a matter of peoples of these three countries. And on this plan, I can tell you that cooperation with China can have a lot of future in the framework of this confederation, which covers an area of more than 2,700,000 square kilometers, and which has a population of more than 80 million inhabitants. But we must say that the modernization of agriculture and industrialization require prerequisites. And what are these prerequisites? Energy production, which is the weak link of our countries. For example, in my country, Burkina Faso, during the peak of heat, we are forced to undergo energy regulation by power cuts in order to satisfy everyone, because energy production is not sufficient. We cannot industrialize a country if we do not solve the problem of energy production in advance. And so I think that on this plan, China is expected to be able to contribute to the development of energy production in Africa before industrialization and modernization of agriculture. The modernization of agriculture also requires other prerequisites. We need road, railway infrastructures for the exchange of industrial and agricultural products. And on this plan,
nous avons mis en place
in Burkina Faso, we have set up a railway production industry to facilitate the construction of railways.
et là-bas aussi nous attendons
And there we also expect the Chinese contribution
pour leur réalisation prochaine.
and expertise for their next achievements.
Au-delà du pays, nous avons un projet
Beyond the country, we have a project for the construction of railways, which would link the capital of Ghana, Accra, to the capital of Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou,
les projets.
so the projects are not missing.
Tout cela est nécessaire parce que si
And all this is necessary because if we do industrialization and modernize agriculture without foreseeing the conditions of cooling, there will be a stifling effect, and it will affect industrial production and agricultural production.
Mais c'est pas suffisant.
But this is not enough.
Aussi prendre soin
We must also take care of the men
qui seront les
who will be the
artisans
craftsmen of this industrialization and of this agricultural
Donc,
production.
formation est nécessaire et aussi
So training is necessary, and also the health of men is necessary.
sur ce plan,
On this
je remercie
plan,
encore la Chine
I thank China again for realizing in Burkina Faso, the country's largest reference hospital,
et qui sera fonctionnel
which will be operational from 2025.
Et donc, c'est pour vous dire que
So, I would like to tell
nous ne
you
devons pas voir l'industrialisation
that we should not see industrialization and modernization of agriculture in isolation,
pour qu'il n'y ait pas de bruit
but as a
de
whole,
gouvernement.
so that there is no work of isolation in the
Cela
process.
dit, je
That
reviens
said,
pour dire que la Chine
I come back to say that China has an interest in a developed and united Africa.
si l'Afrique était unie,
If Africa were
au lieu
united,
d'avoir affaire à 54
instead of having to deal with 54 different states,
affaire à un seul État, les négociations
China would have to deal with only one state.
et les résolutions se prendraient beaucoup plus.
Negotiations would be much easier, and resolutions would be made much faster.
En outre, si l'Afrique se
In
développe,
addition, if Africa
les Africains
develops,
auront plus de pouvoir d'achat
Africans will have more purchasing power.
avec la Chine et les échanges.
They will be able to trade much more with China, and exchanges will multiply.
Partagés.
So our interests are shared.
L'Afrique a besoin de la Chine.
As much as Africa needs China to
La
develop,
Chine a besoin de l'Afrique.
China
pour
needs
se développer
Africa to
également.
develop as well.
Parce que
Because with
avec les
exchanges,
échanges, ça produit, n'est-ce pas, un effet
there is an effect of stimulation.
Alors donc maintenant,
So now, Mr. Head of State and Government, I would like to tell you that perspectives depend on
pour vous
us,
dire que les perspectives
and first of all, depend on a political will.
d'une volonté et d'une volonté politique.
So I would like us to examine this carefully
Nous examinions cela avec
and to take into account that we must first and foremost
que nous devons d'abord et avant tout
free ourselves from all
nous
controls,
libérer de toutes les tutelles, nous orienter vers nous-mêmes
orient ourselves towards ourselves so that all harmonious and sustainable development can take place.
soutenable. Du Burkina Faso est basé sur
Currently, the economy of Burkina Faso is based on three pillars. First, there is mining production.
Deuxièmement, il y a la production agricole, notamment avec
Second, there is agricultural production, in particular with crops such as cotton, sesame, anacarde,
mais aussi les cultures vivrières.
but also rice
Et
crops.
troisièmement, il y a les produits de
And
l'élevage.
third, there is breeding.
Actuellement, nous sommes en train
Currently, we are
de mettre
focusing
l'accent sur
on a
un
fourth
quatrième
pillar,
pilier, qui est la qualité des hommes. Donc,
which is the quality of men,
professionnelle.
i.e. professional training.
Le thème de cette conférence, donc, nous intéresse beaucoup.
The theme of this lecture is of great interest to us because it is about industrialization and modernization of agriculture.
À ce titre, la Chine est
In
une
this
référence
regard,
pour nous.
China is a reference point for us.
En moins d'un siècle,
In less than a century,
industrialisée,
China has industrialized and modernized its agriculture
est parvenue à l'autosuffisance
and has achieved food
alimentaire
self-sufficiency
et s'est mise
and has started
à
exporting its production.
Donc l'exemple chinois
Therefore, the Chinese example must inspire us.
Mais la Chine a réussi cette prouesse
But China has achieved this feat because of the extent of its territory,
de son territoire, du grand nombre
the
de
large number of its population,
et de son unité,
and its unity,
et surtout l'unité politique, dans la volonté d'agir.
and above all, the political unity in the will to act.
Malheureusement, c'est ce qui manque actuellement
Unfortunately,
en Afrique.
this is what is currently missing in
Parce
Africa.
que pour impulser une politique donnée, pour
Because to drive a given policy,
il faut la volonté politique.
to make decisions, you need
Pour avoir une
political
volonté
will.
politique,
And to have political will, you need to be free.
celui qui n'est
Thank
plus
you.
se fait.
Thank you.
Family, listening to this African leader from Burkina Faso about our own leaders who take orders from outside the country to make decisions for their own people that they lead. Does it make sense? Looking at Rwanda, Rwanda is from genocide, and most of the countries were not in genocide. But look at Rwanda. Rwanda has developed more than a lot of countries in Africa because of a strong leader and the leader who thinks about his people. There comes Burkina Faso. They are telling our leaders to go to the mirror and look at themselves. Who are they leading? Why are they taking decisions that are guided outside Africa or outside their own countries? Why is it they are doing that? There's a lot of questions that is being asked by Burkina Faso. I hope all the African leaders who were around that table in China did listen to what the Burkina Faso leader said. Because it is very important for every leader to lead his people and understand that the minerals or the privilege that they are given to lead the country is not because they are better than any other person. It was because of the decision of the people, because they thought that person might lead the country into prosperity. But looking at what is happening in Africa, we start to realize that Burkina Faso will soon rise like what happened in Rwanda. Rwanda is 30 years from genocide. South Africa is 30 years from independence, getting the country back from the Boers apartheid. But where is South Africa? It's going backwards because we've got bad leaders. I think it is high time now that all African leaders go to a mirror and look at themselves and start to analyze, are we still leading our people the way we are supposed to lead them? Or we are there because we were meant to be leaders of them. They've got no say. If our leaders have got that conception, they are getting it wrong. Because the youth of today, they want to take their countries back. Look at what happened in Kenya. It was not a miracle. But it's the true reflection of what is happening in Africa. The youth are tired of the leaders that are leading the country a wrong way. Family, what do you think about the speech from the Burkina Faso leader? Let's comment respectfully, and let's not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bravo, bravo, bravo.